Companies Act, Section 95, Registers, Indices, and Annual Returns as Evidence. Section 95 of the Companies Act outlines the evidentiary value of the registers, their indices, and copies of annual returns that companies are required to maintain under Sections 88 and 94 of the Act. This provision plays an essential role in ensuring that the company's official records serve as credible evidence in legal and regulatory matters, providing a straightforward and reliable reference for matters related to the company's structure, ownership, management, and compliance. Below is a detailed explanation of the key provisions of this section. Registers, indices, and annual returns as prima facie evidence. 1. Registers maintained under Section 88. Section 88 of the Companies Act mandates that every company maintain a register of members, shareholders, along with a register of debenture holders, and a register of any other securities holders, such as those who hold bonds or other financial instruments issued by the company. These registers provide a record of the individuals or entities who have ownership interests or other rights in the company through shares, debentures, or securities. Section 95 establishes that these registers, which contain important details like the names, addresses, and number of securities held by each holder, will serve as prima facie evidence of the matters they contain. Prima facie evidence refers to evidence that is sufficient to establish a fact unless disproven by other evidence. Therefore, the information in the company's registers can be relied upon as a factual record unless there is evidence to the contrary. 2. Indices of registers. The indices refer to the indexes or directories that help organize and provide quick reference points for the registers mentioned in Section 88. These indices may include references to shareholder details, debenture holder information, or records of other security holders. The indices, being part of the company's official documentation, also hold prima facie evidentiary value. This means that in legal or regulatory proceedings, the indices can be referred to as reliable evidence of the company's ownership structure and the interests of stakeholders. 3. Copies of annual returns maintained under Section 94. Section 94 of the Companies Act requires companies to maintain annual returns, which include detailed information about the company's structure, financial performance, ownership, directors, and other key aspects of its operations. A copy of the annual return is required to be filed with the Registrar of Companies, ROC, each year and made available for inspection by the public. The provision in Section 95 clarifies that copies of these annual returns serve as prima facie evidence of the matters disclosed in them. In other words, if any dispute arises regarding the information in the annual return, the copy filed with the ROC will be considered accurate unless there is sufficient evidence to suggest otherwise. Legal relevance of Section 95. 1. Role in legal proceedings. The fact that the registers, their indices, and annual returns are considered prima facie evidence plays a significant role in legal disputes or regulatory inquiries involving companies. If, for instance, there is a question regarding the ownership of shares, the accuracy of a company's financial statements, or the details of its management, the registers and the annual return can be presented as initial evidence to support the company's position. In the event of any litigation, the company will be able to rely on these documents as credible sources of evidence, streamlining the process of establishing facts in cases related to corporate governance, shareholder disputes, or compliance matters. 2. Presumptions of accuracy. By treating these documents as prima facie evidence, Section 95 places a presumption of accuracy on the company's registers, their indices, and annual returns. This means that unless there is clear and convincing evidence to the contrary, these records will be assumed to be correct and reflect the true state of affairs of the company at the time they were prepared. This assumption of accuracy is critical for ensuring the smooth operation of business transactions, shareholder relations, and compliance with legal and regulatory requirements. 3. Transparency and accountability. Section 95 ensures that there is transparency in the company's dealings by providing a clear legal basis for the use of its official records as evidence. This promotes accountability within the company, as its records will be accessible for scrutiny and will stand up as evidence in any disputes or investigations. It also acts as a safeguard for stakeholders, such as shareholders, creditors, or regulators, providing them with the assurance that they can rely on the company's records in legal and financial matters. Scope of Section 95. 1. Applicability to matters directed or authorized under the Act. The provision makes it clear that the registers, indices, and annual returns are deemed to be evidence for any matter directed or authorized to be inserted therein by or under the Companies Act. This means that the documents are considered evidence not only for the standard information they contain, such as shareholder details, but also for any additional matters that the Act requires companies to record or disclose in these documents. For instance, if the Companies Act mandates the disclosure of penalties imposed on a company or details about transactions with related parties, such matters, once inserted in the registers or annual returns, would be considered valid evidence for legal and regulatory purposes. For more details, contact us.